Welcome to Amplifying Recruitment. In this episode, I'm joined by Alex Dover. Alex is the founder of Prism Digital. Alex shares his journey of the early days of working for Monarch, the days of cold calling in suits and ties, to launching Prism and shaping a business that is firmly rooted in client relationships and community. Alex,
Hello.
Welcome to Amplifying Recruitment.
Nice to be here, Jamie. Nice to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Would you start and just give us a bit of an intro to you and your background and how you got to where you are?
Sure. Yeah, no problems. So I'm Alex. I'm the founder of Prism Digital. We're a tech recruitment firm. We've been going for 12 years. So 12 years strong. We're into our 13th year. Prior to establishing Prism Digital, I worked in the IT recruitment industry. I've only worked for one firm before Prism, so I don't know if that's quite a rare thing just to work for two firms, but I was at Monarch Recruitment for 8 years before that. So they're up in the Midlands. So I was based predominantly in Birmingham, cutting my teeth up there. So traditionally, very much working in the IT kind of infrastructure, later cloud and DevOps market, which is my niche. So yeah, we're still very much focused in that niche as well, but we'll maybe talk about it a little bit later. But we've got an IT delivery division as well. So we're within tech, we've got our niche, but we've also got like an IT delivery, a little bit more of a generalist hub as well.
Cool. And what was obviously working for a bigger company, what was the catalyst for you to set out on your own and build your own?
Oh God, how long have you got? I might have to talk about this on in the pub. But no, like I loved working for Monarch. Like I was really loyal to that firm. So I had some really good years there. It's that classic, like you say, it was a privately owned business. There was like 150, 200 recruitment consultants all working in the Midlands in one big office. So it was very, very lively environment, I guess kind of akin to like an S3 type vibe. And I guess my journey was continuing to build my market, doing a little bit of kind of mentoring and team leadership in the head office, and then ultimately being based in the Midlands. Well, in fact, I can take it back a little bit if you like. I can tell you how I got the job at Monarch.
Do.
It's quite a funny story. So I went to uni in the Midlands. I was in Nottingham, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do after university. So it's like, well, I knew I wanted to earn money. I knew I liked people, working in a sales environment. So I was like, okay, I'll be an estate agent. So I've done the two most honourable professions, estate agency and recruitment. But I was an estate agent for a year, but I wasn't earning any money. It was difficult. I think it was on like 10 grand base salary, and it wasn't meritocratic at all, like the recruitment industry. So it was literally whatever the manager decided would be your commission for 1 month is what you get. And I had an ex girlfriend that was working for Huxley Associates in Birmingham.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, S3 Group, and like she was raking it in. She was doing really well, and she was like, Alex, like you could do this. Like, come on, why don't you look into recruitment? So that's what I did. So I've got a lot to thank to her, and that's when I relocated to Birmingham.
What year was that?
That was 2005. So yeah, this is my 20th year in recruitment this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I started. Loved it, and long story short, I mean the cruelty is we ended up working on the same market. So I was doing infrastructure, she was doing IT infrastructure. We were like couldn't even talk about what we go home for dinner.
Yeah,
we talk about work. It's all. Ultimately, we did split up, and I just wanted to move to London. A lot of my friends were in London. Never lived in London. I was getting towards my kind of late 20s and wanted to come down to the big smoke. And I did remote working for Monarch before remote working even was a thing. So I was promoted to be the biz dev manager. Absolutely loved the role, but it was. I guess I was hoping that Monarch was going to open a bigger office down there, so I could have that camaraderie, which was at the time a little bit slow to happen. And in conjunction with that, I guess I had one colleague, a chap called Nick, who also worked for Monarch, and I were working kind of like a WeWork again before WeWork existed.
Yeah.
And we met this maverick, like who was also working in this WeWork building, and he's a strange guy that used to come in at all different times of day. He had a little dog, and he had like a PA from Taiwan, and like, who is this guy? it was just odd, like. And anyway,
say odd bit would probably be pretty common now, wouldn't it?
yeah. But it was very like, who is he? Who is he? And he's like used to fall asleep on the sofa and all kinds of weird things. And we befriended him. And this is Nick and I, both working for Monarch in this London office. And we used to go out for beers. And it wasn't until a few months that we worked out who he was. And he was a chap called Shashi, and he sold his last business, which was like a mobile apps into telecoms firm. He sold it to HTC, and I guess he was a bit of a loss in terms of what his next venture would be. And as Nick, Shash, and I continued to go to the pub and befriend each other, that's where the concept of Prism came about. So it was like the three of us. I thought, what can we call ourselves? The three of us. It's like a triangle. What triangle's not very cool. Let's call ourselves Prism, because that's a bit more sexy. And that's how it came about.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And where are they both now?
Oh God, Shash isn't with us anymore, unfortunately.
Okay.
So like he passed away like a couple of years ago, like very very tragically. Nick's still around. That I guess that leads us on to Nick's like I think still in the recruitment industry. He's doing like his own kind of consultancy and freelancing. Again, we could probably do a whole podcast on the history of Prism, but we spent about the first half of Prism working together, and then the second half of Prism it's just me. So I'm the shareholder in Prism now. I guess we're all very different personalities. We were drawn together through a like for each other, I guess, being honest, rather than a true vision of working together as a unit. So Shash went to Australia to continue to do kind of digital and startup ventures, and Nick and I continue to do the recruitment piece. And eventually, yeah, as you can imagine, there's a bit of animosity over that, a bit of falling out, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we moved on, and it is amicable now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a cool story.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I could tell you so much.
I'd imagine you can tell us loads. Because like 20 years in one sector is it's a hell of a long time. Like you must have seen that sector evolve tremendously during that time. But just give us, obviously we're on the clock, right?
Yeah.
But what are some of the things you've seen? How have you seen the sector evolve, especially like the recruitment element of?
Yeah, I was struggling a bit when I set Prism up, because it was like I was still old school. I love putting a suit on, putting a tie on, and like if you're in after 8:15, you were late. You know, as far as I'm concerned. And I had to like adapt, I think, in terms of like how we position ourselves in the market. You know, we are a boutique consultancy. Like we've been between like 6 and 12 people in size pretty consistently, a little bit higher, a little bit lower. And I think like us being a smaller boutique consultancy and us attracting good quality people, I've had to like kind of change some of like people coming to me, my team were coming to me saying, "Oh yeah, this hiring manager or this internal recruiter referred to you as old school Dover. They'd heard about you." I was like, I think I need to change this old school Dover kind of nickname that I'm getting. But no, to answer your question, like, have I seen the market evolve? I mean, first of all, because I'm old school, I think one of the first big changes for me was like seeing LinkedIn, social media. I loved it in a world pre-LinkedIn. I thought like recruitment was a bit of a sport in terms of like getting contact details, getting names, getting emails, actually having relationships. So if there's one thing that's been completely consistent in recruitment, is it's relationships. It's about relationships. That's my mantra. That hasn't changed. But I think getting data and getting access to people that you need to build the relationships with has changed. It's infinitely easier now than it used to be. So I think the approach in terms of how you build relationships with people has to change. And for me, you need commonality. That what's an interesting thing for us at Prism is we've had a good 2024 and a good 2023, where a lot of people are here in the industry have said that it's been a tough 2022. 2023 and 2024. Conversely, R22 was more of a challenge, which is really weird. So I think we've done the opposite. What's been successful for us in these changing times this year is really not forgetting those relationships that we've got. And they can be tenuous. It doesn't have to be just existing clients. It could be a candidate that we had on interview where they're working, and just making sure that we're keeping in touch with people in the industry to see where they're working, getting referrals, all the basic stuff, but just remembering the basic stuff, Jamie.
Yeah.
I think it's so easy to say, right, new business, we've got to go after these companies advertising on LinkedIn or what have you. But I think actually use your database, use your network, and get creative with who you know in your network to win the business and maintain the business that you need.
You mentioned there about you had almost your trends have been the opposite of probably what other people in the same sector have reported, of a not so great 22, better 23, good 24. Like, what was I suppose like the 22 bit, when everyone else was maybe going, gosh, the good times are really back.
Yeah.
Why do you think that was maybe different for you guys?
Lots of reasons. We were running lean. I think everyone was struggling after COVID, right? But we were particularly, as a smaller firm, we were particularly lean. And we were, because the market was so buoyant, we were actively looking to hire a lot of people to deliver on all the roles. It was literally a crazy time, right? I've never known it. Like the phone, every call inbound was a vacancy. Never seen anything like that, right? In recruitment, you've always got to go after them.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like Prism do have loyal and good customers, but generally speaking, you reach out to the customers and pull the vacancies, right? And the reverse was so in 2022. So a couple of things. So it's on that first point, I think we should have actually still been doing more business development. So if we're the ones getting the inbound vacancies, the person that's ringing is probably ringing another 5 other recruiters. So if we were more proactive and still maintaining to do our BD, we would have been having better quality vacancies and better quality requirements to work during those buoyant times, and more exclusive requirements as well. And the second thing, because we were so lean, my first point that I was coming on to, we were having to spend a lot of time hiring. And I think I didn't make the right decisions, or the decisions I'd make now when it came to hiring. So I hired a very disparate team, a lot of remote-based people. So I had the whole division in South Africa. We're based in London. We're based by London Bridge. So I had people in Essex, in Kent, in Hampshire, all over the place. So no disrespect to those individual people, but for me, the remote working just was fundamentally a mistake in terms of how we are culturally and how we perform and how we deliver. It was compounded. We had loads of vacancies. We couldn't work them. We weren't doing the BD to get better quality vacancies, and the people that we hired, I was having to spend too much time because they were all remote and disparate. So I think they were my lessons.
So like a perfect storm moment.
Yeah.
So coming, I'm assuming there's loads of learns in that of like, let's not do this, and we need to do more of that and less of this. So what changed then from 22 into 23 when you've seen things bounce back? Like,
yeah. So I've got less people than I had in the past, but the people that I've got it's a non-negotiable for us. Like, we're in the office Monday to Thursday. That's it. We're not draconian. Like, I have learned, like, if people need to be at home for whatever reason, personal stuff, that's cool. But everybody wants to be in the office. That's the difference. And like, people come in on Friday sometimes anyway because they just want to. So that's been a big game changer. But
how did you implement that? So if you've got someone in Hampshire, Kent, Essex, and then obviously I'm like the South African, you're not calling them in, are you? But like the other, was there a look, guys? We're going to move towards this model.
It was just for new people. It was like for new people moving forward that this is how it is, and the reality is the people that are remote people did kind of slowly transition out. To be fair, so I didn't have to make any uncomfortable decisions to like force people to come back. Fortunately for me, it was quite fortuitous. And then in terms of our other approaches for hiring, just so much more stringent. So we've got like a spreadsheet. I can't remember what all the things are. We've got like 5 points, and one of them would be like, do we like this person? Yeah. Sounds so ridiculous, but in the past it's like, right, perception of success must be a bigger business. must hire, must see growth, must have more people on LinkedIn, must look like the cool director with loads of people. And I've changed my mindset on that now. I'd rather have a leaner team that are all absolute rock stars than having people that might not be rock star. No disrespect to former Prism employees. So we're really strict on that. We test everyone. So we work with Dom Waters, who does the SPQ Gold, and it's a scoring system essentially for people that aren't aware of it. That kind of not only kind of scores you on it's called the sales preference questionnaire, I think, and it kind of assesses all your different kind of assets, like if you're good at selling in groups or if you're good at selling to your family or friends, and it kind of assesses. It gives you kind of a score and an assessment that's really useful for not just hiring people but managing people ongoing as well. That's been really helpful, and that's given us what we've noticed with the people that have gone through that process is we're getting people with really good attitude, and you can train skills but you can't train attitude, right? So that's been really helpful, and just making sure the whole team get involved in the recruitment process. So we're a small business, and we make sure that absolutely everybody is bought into bringing the new hires that we bring into Prism.
Okay, I find all of that really interesting. So what are the key things you're looking for when, like you said there, like, do we like this person? I think it's so important, especially with the size of business that you are. You're talking like less than 10, 12 people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's no hiding place, is there? If you don't like that person, I can't go and sit over the other side of the office. Yeah. What are the other like key traits that you're after?
Look, I mean, generally we look for 360 people. Like, do 360 people still exist? I believe they do, right? I think potentially as you scale, it is probably easier to separate those functions in a recruitment business to like 180, account management, BD, what have you, into all different sections. Because we're a smaller business, because we do like to encourage that entrepreneurial spirit in our people to go knocking on doors, to come up with ideas. I like people to come to me to give me ideas, to make changes, to implement new initiatives. I'm looking for that when I'm interviewing my team. I'm looking for new ideas. I'm looking for innovation. I'm looking for an idea or something that they've implemented in their last role. I'd say formally, I was very keen on hiring trainees and training them and moulding them, grow your own. But the reality is that I've kind of steered away from that now. I'm looking for more senior people, which has been more successful. And I think problem is, like, without blowing my own trumpet, Prism's a really good place to work, and you've built something that's a great culture, really lucrative commission scheme, all the rest of it. But if you get someone that's completely new, they just think that's normal. It's like they take it for granted. They're like, this is just real life, is it? It ain't. Yeah. So I've been enjoying taking people from the competition, I'd say, but from other IT recruitment firms that can really appreciate what it's like at Prism. It's a very grown-up environment, like great relationships with clients and candidates. And that's been my kind of strategy.
Nice. When you mentioned there about someone that's implementing an idea or innovation, what would be an example of that?
Oh God, it's been all kinds of things, from like changes to our fees and commercial schemes to meetup groups. So we're massive on the community scene. We've got 2 community groups. So I'm the co-organizer of London DevOps, and actually that was one of my old team, Jack Moore, and I helped implement that. He's moved on to other things now, but we're still both involved in that meetup group. So many examples, even if it's like what we do on the social side, or it's literally endless. Other marketing campaigns in terms of like sending gifts to clients, or like kind of innovation around marketing ideas and things like that. The door's always open.
Nice. Okay, so when we're talking about having a better 23 than 22, the team is clearly like, and I get it just from talking to you how important that is. Yeah. There must be other elements as well, though, right? So there's getting the right people in the door. What else? What else was the ingredients, I suppose, to moving things forward?
Yeah. I'd refer back to the longevity of our relationships. Yeah. So making sure that we're harnessing the relationships with clients that we've had in years gone by and taking it a bit further. So in conjunction with this, it's like I'm a massive believer of FaceTime. Yeah. So, and that's both from a client perspective and an internal perspective. So I've always been, if you're out every single day for breakfast, lunch and dinner with clients or candidates, I'm happy. Like, you're winning, you're billing, because there's a reason for you to do so, because you're meeting people that are going on interviews, you're booking interviews, you're getting all of that stuff. So I believe that's been a big help for us. I think it's a lot harder to get and meet clients than it face-to-face than it was since COVID, right? Everyone's like, I think everyone's constantly on holiday in December. They're constantly on holiday in January. I think people are just much less accessible than they used to be, but we're still meeting them. And I think that's been a big game changer for us in terms of just, again, the R word, relationships. So that's kind of on the actual work side. In terms of Prism structure, company, how we operate, FaceTime, I believe, is important internally. So getting training in, yeah? You've come in, Jamie, haven't you? To do some training sessions with us, which I think is really important, because there's so much like online stuff. It's like, do online this, look at this webinar, podcast. It's all great. But at the same time, I think there's a big value in face-to-face. So that's been good. And it's not just recruitment training that we've done face-to-face. Like, we work with Michelle Flynn, who's done all the health and makes us do all the breathing and make sure that we're eating vegetables and all that kind of stuff. Love vegetables, by the way. Everyone should be eating more vegetables.
Can we share that you're a vegan?
Yes, I am. Right? I am vegan, but no, I'm not. I don't normally shout about it. But yeah, I'm vegan. Maybe we can talk about all that kind of, but the personal stuff in a bit. But so we've got you in. We get Michelle in. On a personal level, not only do I want the team to be developed and grow as individuals, I want myself to grow as an individual. So membership groups, right? So I think there's a couple of main ones out there. There's TRN. There's also the Pirates. I mean, I've been involved in both. I mean, does that make me like Sol Campbell going from
maybe but worse,
going from Tottenham to Arsenal. But look, it depends on the individual, depends what's right. But I think there's a big value in being a membership of groups like that. And off the back of being in those groups, I've got a business coach. So my business coach is Tony Kokosa Bray. So I've been working with her for a couple of years. You know, I have monthly one-to-ones with her. She comes in, she sees the team, she tells me, you know, she cracks a whip, tells me to like get on with it and do what I need to do, which I think everybody needs sometimes.
Bit of tough love.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she gives me tough love. So I think that, so there's us getting out to our clients, and then there's all the internal stuff and the investment that I've done, and I encourage the guys to develop themselves as well with other tools.
Lovely. There's a lot there, isn't there? And I think like some of that can be seen as the maybe the non-essential bits, right? Some L&D and some breath work from Michelle and some business coaching, but like everything you're saying is we're not in a great place or not performing to our potential. Put some of this in and some like some real actionable like recruitment techniques, like getting face to face with clients, and that's been some of the secret sauce to getting you to where you are.
Do you know what? Like, so, just thinking about that, like sometimes, and I've been a bit bad with it last year, but it's a New Year's resolution. I've been a lot better in 2025, but it's just doing some exercise. Like for me, just like go for a run, like just go for a run before your day. That really helped me. You know, that was something that when I kind of tuned in, like getting that balance of a little bit of physical exercise. Like I used to be a really heavy drinker. So again, like talking about the personal stuff, like I haven't actually drunk alcohol for 3 years. So I'm 42 now, but like when I was 39, I was like in Thailand. I'd been drinking for like 3 weeks, and I was in a little hole, and I was having I had like a little epiphany, and I was like, I was going to be 40 next year. Like that means I've been drinking pretty heavily because I drink a lot in work. I drunk a lot recreationally. I drunk a lot with my missus, and it was like 26 years of drinking, like where am I personally? Where am I professionally? Where could I be if I don't drink for another 26 years? And that was like a little tweak that I made. I think maybe it's no coincidence that perhaps we're talking about a turnaround. And I don't want this to be a preach or like me being evangelical about not drinking, but I'm wondering if me being a little bit less hungover and a bit less manana in terms of, let's deal with that another day, might have had a bit of an impact to me professionally and on a business level as well. It's interesting.
I think it's interesting. I think it's funny as well you say, like, I don't want to preach. And I didn't know until yesterday. Actually, I've known you for a little while, but I didn't know until yesterday that you don't drink. And I think there's a lot to be said for it. I think there's a lot more people that are choosing not to drink alcohol because of the impact it has on your ability to work and the level that you can operate. So
I get into less arguments with people, which is good. I say less offensive things, which is useful. Being a bit company director is quite a good trait.
Yeah.
But no, I've seen value in it. It's amazing as well. I was so worried at first, like 3 years ago when I first did it, about the stigma. Same with veganism. It was like I was plant-based at home, and then I'd be vegetarian when I'd go out because that was more acceptable. I didn't want to be seen to be particularly on a business dinner to say, can I have the vegetarian dish, please? And then once I got over that stigma, you just realise it's absolutely fine. People are interested in it, and it's not something to be to hold you back. And it's the same with alcohol. And I think even more so now, there's so many alcohol-free drinks out there. People are actually more interested and more complimentary about that lifestyle change. But no, I think it's been really helpful for me. I think ideally it's an extreme measure to stop drinking completely. I think in an ideal world, if you could just have 1 or 2 beers on an evening out or on a social occasion, that's the optimum. But one's never enough and 12 is too many, right? Yeah,
absolutely. I know that feeling. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so there's all of the personal stuff going on as well. There's getting the right people, all of the FaceTime. Something else you mentioned there that I'm really keen to explore is the communities bit and the meetup groups.
Sure.
And where does that play into the business, and how do you, what impact does that have on candidate generation or business development? Just tell us more about that.
So there's so many recruitment businesses out there, right? And it's like, how do you differentiate yourself? What is a genuine USP or make something that's different? And I was very conscious about when I started Prism, I wanted Prism to have a USP. At the time, it was the triangle of having me doing infrastructure recruitment, Nick, my partner at the time, doing more development orientated recruitment, and Shash, who was like the industry leader, the tech guy that we could wheel out, right? And that was a real nice little dynamic. But quite quickly, it was a wonderful story, but it wasn't the reality. So the meetup group was the next thing for me to really focus on. And maybe it sounds a bit mercenary and a bit kind of disingenuous over what the meetup group's all about, which I'll talk about in a minute, which is we do believe in it and we do very much encourage and are part of it. But just to be able to say you do it when you're going on pitches to clients, they're just so impressed. It's like, wow, you've got a meetup group of 11,000 members. Like, this is awesome. Like, it gets you in the door, right? But it is a serious event. It does have 11,000 members. We have about 100 people attend the events each month, and it gives you a passive candidate base. So there are people that it's not a recruitment event. First of all, it's purely about technology. We get speakers talking about tech, sometimes talking about culture. It's an opportunity for organisations to actually host the event as well, because a lot of the time people don't know that organisations like, for example, Sainsbury's, they've got this big auditorium, and they're like, we want people to know that Sainsbury's are a tech hub in London, and it's an opportunity for us to showcase organisations and get them to speak as well. So it's a lot of hard work though, Jamie.
I can imagine 11,000 people is a hell of a lot of people. It's
a lot to do, and if people are interested in doing that, I would recommend doing it with a panel. So there's 4 of us involved with London DevOps, and with London Cloud Leaders, we do that. That's more Prism orientated, so that the whole organisation gets behind that. But I think that part of the success is we've had the same organisers throughout the whole time that we've done it, and we've got organisers from not just a recruitment or consulting industry, but from the industry. So we've got a couple of like DevOps dudes that are part of the organising committee that really have a lot of credibility and clout. Yeah, so yeah, it's been good. So have we won clients from it? Yeah. Have we found candidates from it? Yes. Have we met friends from it? Yes. It's been really good for us.
And what would you say if there was someone like listening to this and thinking, "Oh, I'd love to do something like that"? Obviously, not in cloud or DevOps.
No.
But if they were, I don't know, if they're an education recruiter or a engineering recruiter, whatever it might be, different sector.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what? I think first of all you've got to identify a gap, that there isn't something that there's a need and a want for it and all that. But how do you go about like creating that?
It's tough. I'd say something I've said already, that having someone from the industry that's an authority and a respected voice is good. I think having consistency as well. So just making sure that even if you do a virtual event rather than a face-to-face event, just that you're keeping that momentum going, keeping the communication going. I'd say consistency, getting good speakers, and just getting a good organising panel would be the kind of the key to success.
And who organises it from Prism side? Like, what does that doesn't fall at your? Does that fall?
It does. Well, the thing is, the way it works at Prism is it's pretty flat structure. Like, everybody mucks in, everybody gets involved with everything. So like, we've got a Trello board, and we'll share like prospective speakers or venues that might want to host, even like people that want to sponsor, and we'll just keep that updated, and we'll just collaborate as a team. So yeah, it's a lot. But then, if you should really be only organising an event or getting involved with an event like this that is relevant to your market. So it's difficult, but it's not difficult. So I guess it's a bit like with social posts. You should be talking about things that are relevant to you, that are happening to you day to day, and that's, I guess, something that is something we've improved on as well, right? In terms of like actually sharing, giving valuable content back to our communities of scenarios, case studies, or just value add information about the market. So, and as we're doing that, and as we're posting things like that on LinkedIn, you think, oh, that sounds great. Oh, you've done that project, or you've done this. Do you want to talk about it? And like, it just kind of happens naturally as you're speaking to the community, as you're speaking to your candidate and client base.
Yeah, excellent. I really like that. And I think there's a gap for that in most markets, in most verticals for most recruiters. So just going back to the main thread, I suppose, that we were talking about, 22 is difficult.
Sorry, we've gone all around the place, haven't we?
That's all right. I think that's a good thing, right? 22 is tricky for all of the reasons we talked about. You got like a load of good shit going on personally, professionally, in the office in 23, and then 24 it levels up again, and things continue to get better in terms of performance. So what was the next little bit?
The next thing for us was contract. So we really increased our contractor runners. So was that by luck? Was that by design? I think you make your own luck, right? The harder you work, the luckier you are.
But did you go with the intention to grow a contract market or expand your contractor market?
Yes. Yeah, we did. No, it wasn't quite it didn't happen. It came from a different client pool than the client pool I was expecting it to come from, but hey, we'll take it, right?
Yeah.
So we worked with, I guess we had like about half a dozen clients, each with major programs of work. So one, like for example, like a client that was literally separating from a parent company to becoming its own organisation. Another one that was transitioning from using a major consultancy like Boston Consulting Group to wanting to get contractors in for like a third of the price. It's like, yeah, we can help you with that. So projects and programs, which we were on the pulse with those, and we were able to identify and pick up on quite quickly. But there's a common theme. The reason that we picked up those contract pieces of work, again, was these relationships. So tapping into relationships with people that both of those examples were contacts that me or the team at Prism had worked with at a former organisation when they were in the new place. And it was just absolutely meticulously making sure that we were keeping in touch with our network. Not even just like, got any jobs, just sincerely keeping in touch and wanting to keep relationships going those contacts. So the contractor piece increased, which was massively helpful for us, and it's a snowball effect, right? So you win a project, you get more leads from the other contractors, you get referrals, you're out on more lunches, everything grows from that. And again, we continue to hire hire slowly, fire quickly.
Yeah, excellent.
and that's been a mistake. So I'm a softie, right? So I'll keep people on for years that shouldn't be. I've stopped doing that. So everybody in prison.
Is that you've stopped doing that, or Tony's got you to stop?
Yeah, probably Tony has. Yeah. So yeah, we're leaner, but we have really, really strong consultants at Prism. And I think the other thing, I was always more kind of reactionary. So it would be like, right, suddenly we need to put, someone's left, we need to hire. And it's like, I've realised that recruiting good quality people is a bit like painting the Forth Bridge. By the time you finish painting it, you've got to go back and start painting it again. And it's like changing that mindset that we should always be hiring and always looking for good people. Which I think, as running a smaller consultancy, it can be tempting to, or it can be easy to like forget that you constantly need to be looking to hire for yourself and hire good quality candidates for yourself. And just buttering up rec to recs, and you've got to keep your rec to rec relationships really close.
Yeah, the good ones especially.
The good ones, yeah.
Yeah, completely. Okay, brilliant. So we're on this sort of upward trajectory. What does 2020? We're sat here like the end of January 2025 recording this.
Yeah.
What are the big plans for 2020? Or are there big plans? I don't know. What does 2025 look like, or do you hope it's going to look like for you guys?
I've got my plan. So that's what I tell the team and what I tell my clients and people that I'm interviewing. So I'm Alex Ferguson and I'm building my Dream 11. Yeah. So there's 6 of us in the business at the moment. So I need to like hire another, 6 if I'm the manager. Yeah. So I want Prism to be the consultancy where everybody's fighting to work at Prism and be in that first team, that Dream 11. So hiring is key, looking to hire another 6 people. In conjunction with that, again, building our contractor book. I'm very much about that. I was a perm recruiter at Monarch, but I feel like I was born in a contractor body.
Okay.
So I love contracts. So I want to continue to leverage the contractor relationships I've got and identify new opportunities in that space as well. Cool.
So I suppose on that, anyone listening that is an IT recruiter that likes the sound of everything you're saying, what's the next steps for them?
Yeah, give us a call.
Yeah, like, avoid the rec to rec and just come.
Right? Yeah, give us a call. So well, I say as long as they're willing to come to our office 4 days a week, that's the non-negotiable. They need to be. It's just been absolutely amazing for us, like being in the office and like working collaboratively again. And it's just like the old days, right? It's literally, it's only like 5 years ago that we were in the office 5 days a week. And it was just absolutely normal. And it's almost like unthinkable now. It's like despicable now, isn't it? Like when you get a client that gives you a vacancy, it's like they've got to be in 5 days a week. It's like, it's disgusting. Eh? And it's like, it wasn't that bad. Anyway, so I'm an advocate for being in the office, but I am more softened myself and been a little bit more mellow.
I was going to ask you the same question I've asked everyone that's joined us as a guest on here of what do you think the next 12 months look like for the recruitment industry more generally? But maybe that's a starting point of that being back in the office. Now, Amazon have probably the biggest company to publicly say, no, everyone's back in. Are we all just downstream of that it's going to become the norm again? What do you think?
It's hard to say. I think it's a bit of a mix. I'd say in terms of just general sentiment. So like what are we, mid-January now, as you say, in 2025. Touch wood, we've seen things to be quite good. Like so, we're now getting clients ringing us again. With vacancies more than they were last year, even though it's like only middle of January. And the news is there's so much doom and gloom on the news at the moment, isn't there? Like everyone's just constantly moaning at Rachel Reeves, the budget, government. Don't want to get.
She might not have a job by the time this goes out.
Don't want to get into politics, but it's pretty. The news is always gloomy, but it's really gloomy at the moment. And what I'm trying to say is, I think the recruitment industry is like a great barometer of sensing what the market's like, and so far it's been a lot more positive than it has last year. So fingers crossed there. The remote working question, I think that's a great question. I mean, I think there is generally a trend for organisations to be wanting to work more in the office. Yes, I think there will always be outliers, perhaps more niche, maybe smaller, more boutique firms or firms that want to try and attract a talent pool and have a winning edge over their competition by being a little bit more flexible with remote work. Because it's true, if organisations do offer a genuine 100% remote work positions, they do get a wider pool of candidates and some really good senior candidates at their disposal. So I think both will be the case, but general rule of thumb, people do want people in the office more.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other predictions for the next 12 months?
Everyone's just talking about AI, aren't they? I'm sick of AI, aren't you? I don't want to talk about it really. But I mean,
it's hard not to.
It's hard not to. Yeah. I think because I work in the tech and recruitment world and I do the meetup groups, it's like every single talk at our meetup groups like being AI orientated, so I'm a bit jaded by it. But no, I think that will be really interesting, that landscape, to see what that means for the recruitment industry. We've been there before, right? So is AI going to take our job? Is when Monster came out, Monster was going to take recruiters' jobs because it was all going to be through online advertising and people wouldn't need recruiters anymore. When LinkedIn came out, it was like, oh, yeah, LinkedIn's going to mean that we don't need recruiters anymore. AI is just going to mean that we're going to be able to continue to build more relationships and to do a lot of the work that we don't need to do, so we can be building relationships to get the right people into our clients. And if there's one thing that recruiters have always been, is incredibly adaptable and really nimble at using new tech. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Can't wait to get my teeth in it.
Brilliant. Alex, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, great, Jamie. Great to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.